Greenland, the world's largest island at 2.1 million square kilometers, makes up 97% of the Kingdom of Denmark as an autonomous territory. So, how did Denmark end up with this giant island, which not only dominates over Denmark, but whose culture is so vastly different? The story of how Greenland came under Danish rule begins in 980, when the soon-to-be legendary Erik the Red was exiled from Iceland after a dispute with his neighbor led to several deaths. He decided to travel southwest, exploring lands that were described by Gunborn Ulf Erikson 50 years earlier when he was blown off course. Leaving from Stafellsnes, he would arrive at the east coast of Greenland at a place later called Blaserk, establishing a settlement at Brattahlid. Once his 3 years of exile were expired, Erik returned to Iceland to recruit settlers for the new land, which he named Greenland, in hopes to attract new settlers. Though 25 or 35 ships joined Erik, only 14 would make it to Greenland in either 984 or 985. Around the year 1000, Erik's son, Leif Erikson, would convince his reluctant father to convert to Christianity at around the same time Iceland began their own conversion. Greenland would continue to prosper, with the original eastern settlement hosting 500 farms, a middle settlement hosting 20 farms, and a further western settlement hosting 95 farms. Lacking the proper materials, the population quickly found itself dependent on Iceland and Norway for materials, and in 1261 they accepted the overlordship of Haakon IV, King of Norway. It is not known why or how, but throughout the 14th century, the Greenlandic settlements began to experience a steep decline, with the rest settlement becoming abandoned by 1350, perhaps due to a change of weather or the Norse themselves. The last record of Norse Greenlanders appeared in a 1408 marriage certificate, though it may be possible that the eastern settlement survived until the mid-1500s. Though the island itself appeared in maps created after the downfall of the Norse settlements, the island escaped the interests of Denmark, who since 1380 ruled Norway in a personal union before forming the Kalmar Union with Sweden. In 1578, Martin Frobisher once again discovered Greenland, which led Frederick IV to send an expedition, led by Englishman James Alday. Though his failure, as well as the already established Dutch and English whaling presence, deterred further Danish expeditions to the island. At around the same time, Sweden had left the Kalmar Union, forcing Denmark to reorganize as Denmark-Norway. It wasn't until the early 1700s that the Danish crown once again showed interest in a more direct rule over Greenland. The Norwegian missionary Hans Egede, upon his bequest, was sent to Greenland to establish contact with what he thought would be the remaining Norse settlers to convert them to Lutheranism, which had swept over Scandinavia. The expedition failed due to the hostile Dutch whalers and the resistance of the local Inuit population to converting. A second attempt, under Klaus Pars, resulted in disaster, and a smallpox epidemic devastated the island, though not before establishing Gottorp on the western side of Greenland. After the Napoleonic Wars, Norway came under the rule of Sweden in 1814. However, the colonies, which were historically under Norwegian control, including Greenland, were given to Denmark. This would lead to increased interest in Greenland with an explosion of Inuit settlement in the 19th century, with the last major wave arriving in 1864 from British North America. In 1862 to 1863, the first democratic elections took place in Greenland, though it wouldn't be until 1911 that Greenland would receive two landstings, or parliaments, one for the north and one for the south. Greenland would continue to be sparsely populated, numbering only 14,000 in 1911. In 1905, the United Kingdom of Sweden-Norway came to a peaceful end, and Norway began to press its claims to Greenland. establishing Erik the Red's land on July 10, 1931. Though when the World Court sided with Denmark's claims to Greenland, Norway abandoned all claims. The United States also held claims to Greenland, as they proposed the American explorer who had visited the island, Robert Peary, gave the Americans a claim, though the sale of the Danish Virgin Islands to the USA in 1917 forced them to abandon those claims. Today, Greenland enjoys considerable autonomy from Denmark, and since a successful 2009 referendum, Greenland has been in charge of law, policing, and even foreign relations. Significant support for Greenlandic independence persists among the population. However, with its economy highly dependent on direct aid from Denmark, only the future will tell of its status within the kingdom. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting ideas for the next video.